We've got another Mixed Tribe episode for you viewers, with the brand new Dragon Tribe coming alongside our third visit to the Machine Tribe.
Hey!
It's certainly been a while since we've seen Met, and I must say Yuji's an unexpected partner for him. I'll be opening with the Dragon Tribe, and the first Borg in the Force is going to be Machine Head.
You get on my nerves! Exterminate them! Leave it to me!
A Machine Head plays like an air Borg, except not as good, as its flight is kind of limited, and its weapons, while they do decent damage, are kind of hard to aim. Really, Machine Head's best ability is the fact that it can fuse with Mechanical Dragon in order to become the Machine Dragon. Which, of course, you can't do in regular story mode, as none of the AI commanders have a Mechanical Dragon on their force. Fortunately, Yuji's decided to be not that great in the air with me, so he's not doing too much right now, at least. Although Met keeping me down with his wire gunner, and Machine Head takes it. Next up is Winged Dragon. Another not too great dragon. Although his wing attack is capable of dealing pretty good damage if you manage to connect. It can be kind of tricky to use, as you can't aim downward with it, and once it starts you can't really control it. But if the enemy is willing to put you in a good position, like carrier helicopter here, you can deal a decent chunk. Of course, you can be knocked out of it with explosives and the like. But it does have a pretty good range with Winged Dragon's wingspan and all. Of course, you do have to be careful not to hit your ally with it, although it isn't too much of a problem thanks to the reduced ally damage. I'm glad I didn't hit that wire. I probably would have taken out Winged Dragon. Although with its slow movement, Winged Dragon is not much longer for this world, and without boost I couldn't really move at all from that drop. And that's it. And next up is Deathhead, essentially a larger, more expensive Machine Head. It plays pretty much the same, it just does more damage. And this time it can fuse with the Cyber Dragon in order to become the Cyber Death Dragon, which again, you can't use in regular story mode. And luckily there's no copy man around, so I'm really just kind of peppering them with shots. Well, they can't really do much to me. Sorry, Nikope. I thought I'd be able to do better than this. But that's okay. It's time to launch our counterattack. Oh, no, I'm definitely getting away from that walking bomb. I can't afford to lose Deathhead here. And it looks like it's down to one-on-one fight. I probably have the advantage here, but I don't want to get sloppy and lose at the last minute. That'd be kind of embarrassing. Unfortunately, Death Breath does good damage when you can hit with it. And that's a win.
We showed them!
That should put you in your place.
This has never been proven from the point of literature.
All forces retreat!
Good to see you again, Met. I was just kind of out of sorts from that victory there, and so it took me a little longer to hit the button.
No!
Still, a Thunder Robot isn't a bad prize.
I don't
And now that we've seen what Met was about, now we can finally see what Kakeru's after. Now once again, seems the Death Force are in Rush's house.
Alright,
I'm nervous.
let's rock!
This is the Machine Tribe, and I'm opening with Proto-red. And while we saw a few glimpses of him during the last Machine Tribe episode, this is about where he really gets to show his stuff. He's big and expensive, but he also moves pretty fast for his size. And his X attack, Buster Laser, can cancel from pretty much any of his moves when they connect, so it's a great combo finisher. With his speed, good HP, and offensive power, Proto-red can easily sweep through a good number of smaller Borgs, especially against the AI, who can't really make as good use of them as a skilled human player. Of course, you still got to be careful to not fire at nothing there. And you can't cancel a melee attack that misses like that. But that's okay, because Hammer Knights can't really capitalize on misses when you go sailing past them. Oh, seems I got caught in the back and sent flying. And it looks like this is going to be a bit of a long stretch, as we haven't even taken half the enemy's GF energy yet. And that Sapphire Knight is definitely going to cause trouble, so it's my new priority. Unfortunately, Proto-red is really good at keeping smaller Borgs off balance, as you can easily just knock them around with any of your melee attacks or your Buster Laser. Oh, sorry, Kakeru, didn't realize you were that close. Lots of Hammer Knights and double ninjas for some reason. It seems this time the Death Force has decided to try and overwhelm me with numbers. And another Sapphire Knight. No Ruby this time. And of course, Orochi Ontama didn't show up here, so who knows what they're up to. That air combo you can launch into from any dashing melee attack. It'll pop the enemy into the air with the upswing, and you can tap the jump button to follow up and start hitting the attack button to start your combo. Proto-red is really easy to use, as long as you're familiar with G-Red, which by this point in the game you probably are. He's really just a bigger, faster version, though a lot more expensive at 800 GF energy. You can see we've gone through a good chunk of the enemy's force, and Proto-red isn't even in the red zone as far as HP goes. Of course, just as I say so, the flashing starts. No, it looks like the enemies brought their final force out to bear, an Eagle robot. That's another one of the big machines, like Proto-red, though Eagle robot has a special ability, in that he can transform into an Eagle jet. I like that there. The computer doesn't really make too great a use of that. But the ability to fly away is really useful, as we saw earlier with Victory Machine. Of course, any Borg small enough to get knocked around, Proto-red doesn't have really any trouble with. And with another Buster Laser, that's game.
We showed them.
We're awesome!
That was not nearly as difficult as the last Death Force fight in Rush's house, thankfully. Yep, seems we got enough capsules for a new Sapphire Knight. All in all, not a bad haul. Alongside a second Death Crystal.
Oh!
Not sure where Kara found it, but hey. Apparently, the more the merrier. And next up is going to be another battle against Tama.
Well...
It's certainly been a while since we brought Mana along, so let's give her a shot. Especially seeing as I'm using such expensive Borgs now.
Let's have fun! You guys are so weak.
Now this is Phoenix Dragon, a bigger, more expensive winged dragon. Like Deathhead and Machine Head, it's pretty much the same Borg, just a higher GF cost. As such, it plays exactly like Winged Dragon. Kinda difficult to use, but its Phoenix attack can do great damage if you can pull it off. Especially against these slow-moving beam satellites.
Go!
Unfortunately, you can still be knocked out of it, and even with Phoenix Dragon's larger wingspan, it can be difficult to land a hit, especially when they power up. And of course, sailing off in the wrong direction doesn't really help. I'm misjudging the distance. Phoenix Dragon doesn't get as much done as I'd like. Next up is Proto-King. And unfortunately, Proto-King isn't nearly as overbearing as Proto-red was. Not only because he's facing more powerful enemies, but because Proto-King isn't nearly as agile as Proto-red is. His Victory Beam does more damage than Proto-red's beam shots, but he doesn't have anything equivalent to Buster Laser. And doesn't have a fancy combo like Proto-red did. Unfortunately, Mana's here to keep me alive for now. Which is good because, unfortunately, her other Borgs are almost useless against fortresses. A Guard Witch can't block the beam satellite's beams, and they're unaffected by Pop Honey's Mr. Reversible. Still, she started with a nurse, and that's really her specialty. After our introduction, they certainly show you another fortress. This battle is full of these beam satellites. And while beam satellites can slowly move around, unlike Death Arc, who was stuck in place, they really don't need to. They're just kind of aimlessly wandering. And while their downward satellite beam attack is pretty dangerous, you're probably not going to get hit with it anytime soon, especially against the CPU that doesn't really try and aim it. Proto King has trouble dodging those reflector beams.
This should work. Yeah.
Unfortunately, those remote guns don't follow you, like, say, Cybergirls, Supers, and Hypers, or Proto-Atlases.
Not yet.
But the way they go a ways away from the beam satellite and then reflect the shot into you does make them trickier to dodge than it might seem at first glance.
Ready? Go! Now!
I definitely have to make good use of Power Burst. Although it's not so great when the enemy gets it too. I gotta be careful here. Mana doesn't have a nurse out, and I can't afford too many more hits. It almost looks like Tama took out his ally satellite. So, thanks, Tama. Oh, and it seems Mana's down to now, but at least I'm at full HP.
This is so hard. Now! Yes! That's why
Tama's force has certainly improved.
This should work.
He's added an extra 3 beam satellites, in addition to his Death Arc.
No!
It makes for a long and honestly kind of drawn out fight.
Thank you.
Proto King isn't the best against Fortress Borgs, although Victory Beam does move quickly and deals decent damage.
Now! Take this!
I'm going to save a Power Burst for Death Arc, which I know is coming.
Do your best! Attack! Hey!
Oh, well, it looks like Mana got taken out by the Satellite Beam, though I quickly avenge her.
Should I try this?
And now it comes down to a one-on-one match.
Not yet!
And the Death Arc has 2 main attacks. It has the fast-moving lasers and its cannon attacks. And for a Borg like Proto King, the lasers are kind of annoying. It's the cannons I really need to worry about, as they'll knock me aside and do a good chunk of damage, which I really can't afford now that I can't heal anymore. Unfortunately, the cannons do telegraph their attack, and that you can see them turn and look at you before they fire.
Go!
And Tama seems content to waste his ammo using his max attack against a single target, which if any one of those hit me, they'd send me spiraling, and he'd really just lose ammo. Now, of course, I definitely don't want to take a hit from one of them. This comes down to whether or not Tama can take me out before I whittle his HP away. As we can see, I've taken a lot of damage. Tama's down to a third of HP. And seeing as he can't move, I don't really have to worry about aiming. And while the computer just kind of turns randomly, turning can help you get a better angle on your shots for both the lasers and the cannons. Oh, this is certainly coming down to the wire. Ooh, that was close.
Alright! We all did it! This is insane. I never lose.
I certainly would have hated to lose there. I would have had to done that whole fight again. Seems we don't get a beam satellite of our own this time. But that's okay. There's plenty of opportunity. But don't worry, I'm not going to send you off without seeing at least one conventional dragon. And I'll be opening with Fire Dragon in the hot battle with Mana.
Let's do this.
We saw the Flame Dragon before, and the Fire Dragon is its stage 1 little brother, as it might say.
Yeah.
It's not as big and does less damage, but its fire bombs are still incredibly powerful against smaller Borgs, especially Death Borgs. Though really, your main source of damage is going to be your Fire Breath. That's your X attack there, although if you use it when facing the wrong way, you're not going to really do much. The main trick for dragons is to tap the B button to fire your bombs at the enemy and get you facing in the right direction for a breath attack.
Ow. Do your best.
You catch a smaller Borg in a beam right, and you can easily take down a good chunk of their health, and even take them out in one shot.
There. No. Do it.
Like the name of the battle suggests, almost every Borg on the field is using fire attacks. The only ones that aren't are those Death Borg Thetas. Those are the ones with black bottles.
Wow.
And the enemy fire dragons show just how effective the fire breath can be, especially if you can catch an enemy in the crossfire.
Do your best.
Though I suppose a player would rarely field a pair of dragons like that. I suppose if you were in versus or challenge mode and working with somebody else.
Mission work.
But funnily enough, none of the AI commanders specialize in dragons. For anyone wondering why Proto-red is the backup of this force, he's a machine Borg and he hasn't been featured before in a Machine Tribe episode, so he counts. And you can easily see just how great he is. He took 2 direct fire breaths and he's still kicking. I certainly can't take another one. But he can easily keep 1 dragon occupied, while the other focuses on mana for some reason. And that was certainly cutting it close. I gotta be really careful here. Those flame ninjas could easily take me out, along with that dragon. Though Mana's new nurse just warped in. So that worked out amazingly well. It is kind of annoying how healing takes up your power burst time, but I'd certainly rather have that HP. As you can see, like Proto-red, Proto-red can combo a lot of his moves together. You can end most combos with the X attack, the Neo-G Crash, easily enough, though if you charge up the B button, you can also end with a G Buster, even after the crash. Sorry, Mana, didn't know you were there. And unlike the last battle, Mana's Pop Honey is of great help here. This last Flame Ninja firing off in all directions. Now we're just gonna close in for the finish. And that G Buster is still really good. Yeah, I'm dancing around this Flame Ninja. You know, with the last shot, that's game.
We showed them. We all did it.
Flame Ninja Capsule. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching.